Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Close Pros Kickoff and Kick-Ass Super Mega Holiday Edition. I know I said last week that it was the holiday edition, but now we are in the week of Christmas. We are in the home stretch towards the end of 2021, and I gotta be honest with you, I'm feeling some mixed feelings about it because 2021 has been I don't even know what the adjective is. It's been a crazy year, but it's been a year of growth for a lot of people in the real estate industry. So, I am happy to see 2021 come its way, but 2020, you've been okay. We're managing. My name is Chris Linsell. I have been managing as a senior real estate writer and coach at theclose.com, and I am one of the hosts for this weekly call where we talk about real estate strategies and topics that you can use to grow your business. But I don't do this by myself. I have somebody who helps keep me in line, who helps keep me honest, and pushes back on my kind of harebrained opinions sometimes. Mr. Sean Modry. Sean, say hello to everybody.
Hey guys, it's good to be here. Sean Modry. I'm right outside of Denver, Colorado, just south of Boulder, and excited to be here. And this is an interesting conversation. If you don't plug into the Close Pro, I suggest going back and looking at some of our previous episodes. I think we cover some very unique topics in some unique ways. And our differentiation of opinion on how to do things, yet both ways are often successful. My way is always the right way.
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see about that. Guys, today is kind of a special edition of the Close Pro because normally we spend this time talking about bigger picture topics that real estate agents often are asking questions about, especially when they're in that level up their business kind of stage, when they're looking to transform their business from maybe a half a dozen transactions a year up to maybe 15 or 20 transactions a year. Maybe when they're thinking about hiring an assistant or growing their team. These are all kind of these changing points in our business that we talk about a lot on the Close Pro. And today we're going to go a little bit different here, and we're going to talk about a specific program that is available right now for certain markets in the United States. It's called ZillowFlex. Now, Sean and I, we had a very limited amount of conversation. We try not to, as I say, we try not to eat the soup before dinner here. Just, we don't want to spoil it. But Sean and I we just had a little taste. Sean and I talked a little bit about ZillowFlex just to make sure we were on the same starting page. So I want to get you guys, those of you who are watching and listening, onto that same page too. If you're not familiar with ZillowFlex, here's the short version of what this program is. It's Zillow Premier Agent. We're all pretty familiar with what Zillow Premier Agent is. If you're not, you can head over to the Close. I've got a great article on the Close all about Zillow Premier Agent and whether or not it's good for you and your business. So ZillowFlex is Zillow Premier Agent, but instead of paying the upfront cost of Zillow Premier Agent, you don't pay anything upfront. In fact, all of the leads that you get are completely free on the front side. You only pay Zillow with ZillowFlex if you actually close a deal. Now, the payment structure is different. The cost is different than if you were paying up front, but it is a different program that honestly wouldn't be possible if Zillow wasn't getting brokerage licenses, because this is essentially a referral fee. Zillow is giving you leads. If they close, they're capturing a portion of the commission. So we're going to talk about this: the good, the bad, the ugly. Is this a good thing for the industry? Is this a good thing for real estate agents? And, I'm really anxious to hear, Sean, any opening salvo thoughts here? Anything that you just want to kick the conversation off? As I was kind of getting people onto the same page, anything running through your head you want to just
you just jumped right in. Okay,
I do.
So I think we do have to go a little bit into the backstory, right?
Yeah.
So let's go into the backstory and the controversy around Zillow that agents have in the industry in general.
Yep.
So go back. Oh man, it's got to be 12, 15 years now, right? It was a long time ago.
Yeah, quite a while.
The MLSs started giving tech companies, Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, access to the MLS data.
Yep.
And the challenge, the question was, is who owns it?
Yeah.
Who owns the description? Who owns the photos? Who owns this? How did the MLS give access, sell this information? Sell, because they're not giving it, they're selling it to these tech companies to provide them basically what these people need in order to attract the clients that we as real estate agents are also trying to attract. Okay.
Yep.
So that's controversy number one.
Yeah.
And if you remember, I don't know if you know this, back then, 10, 11, 12 years ago, Gary Keller said, no, he says, we're not going to voluntarily share data with Zillow, because Zillow will become a competitor, is what Gary Keller, founder of Keller Williams, said. He says they will become a competitor someday. And remember, the whole time Zillow's like, no, we're not.
That's a brilliant imitation right there of Rich Barton. I'm pretty impressed by that. No, okay, continue.
So now let's talk about the progression. So then Zillow starts selling leads, right, back to agents, right, for and it started off really affordable. It was great, right? It was, you averaged about $12, and sometimes your leads would get up to about 25. And then as Zillow grew market share, property values rose, agents became more, they had more commission, more competitive into the market. Zillow would limit the markets, and then the price per lead went through the roof in a lot of markets. I mean, we're paying here in Boulder, Colorado, $200 an email.
We're not talking about a slow and steady linear growth. We're talking about an exponential. All of a sudden, leads went from $25 a lead, which felt expensive at the time, to $200 a lead in the span of like 36 months, not even.
And let's talk about the problem with those leads, because I think this leads into the conversation later. Is the problem with the leads were they weren't unique leads. So the lead was resold every time somebody logged into Zillow and clicked on a house and entered their email. That lead was resold. So the lead that you received could have been resold 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, right? Now, to Zillow's argument, 80% of agents that even paid for leads never followed up with them.
Which, honestly, I can tell you from personal experience, I know agents, I worked with agents who were in this program paying for Zillow leads, weren't following up with them. And take all the head shaking you want from that. I mean, it's just insane that you would be paying for something that you're not using like that. And
we're specifically talking about the Zillow Premier Agent.
That's right.
System, right?
That's right. So just so we're all kind of together on this, I think Zillow's argument, though it is a little frustrating, is not completely invalid. Their perspective on that, not completely crazy by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, so
here's where the fight comes in. Here's where the fight comes in. Now you have these other platforms, Boomtown, Tiger Leads, Commissions Inc., boom, 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 which gives the agent the power to go market themselves competitively with Zillow. And the MLS is giving our data to Zillow to be our competitor. So now the frustration within the industry was agents that funded our competitor versus agents that don't fund the competitor, right? And so then we went through this whole phase where it was like agents were saying, do not syndicate to Zillow. Do not agree to syndicate to Zillow. And now I don't know about where you're at, but our MLS, when we type it in, it says, who do you want to syndicate to? And you have to check the box if you want to syndicate to Zillow. And that came out of that fight, right? So there was that fight. So there's this two differentiating views. I won't even say pro Zillow. Zillow, indignant. Indignant, is that the right one? And against it, right? So that's the controversy.
So I will add a third category here. I think you were looking for Zillow indifferent, like the people.
Indifferent.
And then the against Zillow. I'll add that there is a contingent of people in the pro side, and I'll tell you who those people are, because I know some of these people. These are people who have figured out the correct scale for their Zillow spend, so that they are making a sustained profit using the system, and their upside is greater than their downside. Now, I do want to add here too, and this is
that's a small group,
relatively small. I mean, compared to the other groups, but when you look at them just in raw agents, I would be willing to bet that's 10,000 agents in the United States who have figured out that scalable thing. So if you look at them en masse compared to the 2 million total agents, it's a relatively small group.
It's a small group. Yeah, agreed.
But so I want to add too, just before this little piece of background before we get into the conversation here, that I want to say it was probably 2 years ago, pretty close to this week. I was at the Inman Connect conference in Manhattan in New York City, and I heard Rich Barton from the stage say specifically, we don't want to be your competitor. We don't want to be the brokerage that people call and ask to see houses. We want to be the light that is shined in the dark room that gives people information. We don't want to be the tour guide. We want to be the electric company. And I thought that's an interesting way of putting it. So let's fast forward to 3 months ago.
Well, let's talk about the challenge that they're facing that this model came out of, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead. What challenge is Zillow facing for this model? This model has emerged from.
With my experience, a few years ago, 3-4 years ago, spent about $48,000 on Zillow leads. Okay. To provide to my brokers, right? In my brokerage. I thought this would be a great way to reward my producing brokers. That was my story, right? And in Zillow's defense, my rep said it's not going to work.
Oh, okay. Well, at least he was upfront with you about that.
Yeah, his conversation was producing agents aren't going to take the time. They're not driven enough to follow up with the leads as needed in order to convert. Okay. So we spent a lot of money on leads and maybe broke even, probably lost a little bit of money, definitely lost a lot of time. And the reason is what you and I talked about, is that agents did not follow up with the leads.
Yeah.
So then Zillow came up with the concierge service, right? To now you don't have, or then after that, you didn't have to, as an agent, follow up with the leads. They would follow up with the leads.
Yep.
And then contact you once the lead was qualified. But the challenge with this is agents were paying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, and they're only getting 5 leads a month.
Yeah.
Because they're not following up with the 40 others that came in or the 100 others that came in, but there's 5 qualified people that are actually like real, right? That want to talk out of the 150 that came in. And agents felt like that they're paying too much per lead now, because now the cost per lead is, $300, $400, $500 per lead, right? Which is funny because it's the same number. If you look at the math, it's literally the same number. But that's the conversation that agents are having is, these leads, I don't get as many leads as I used to, right? You hear that, So that leads them to try to model after this other tech company called Redfin, who is more profitable than Zillow and much smaller than Zillow as far as market share.
That's right. And, something to kind of advance us a little bit. 3 months ago, and there was a broker who I've done some consulting work for who called me up and he said, Chris, I am getting offers from Zillow right now to join this pilot program called ZillowFlex. It's not available publicly to the whole market yet. Here's how it works. You don't pay for the leads until they actually close, and then they take a percentage rather than a flat fee. And I thought, this is interesting, but this sounds a heck of a lot like a referral fee. And he goes, oh yeah, they say that. It's definitely, they don't say it on the website, but they'll say it in the conversation with you. This is and I don't think they actually use the word referral, but that's clearly what it is. It's a referral fee. And so I started thinking about this in the greater landscape of real estate. And I thought of two things that are interesting to me that I'd love to get your opinion on. The first one is there are going to be agents for whom ZillowFlex makes absolutely no sense. These are agents who maybe they have a relatively small profit margin. And so chopping out something like 30% of their commission would actually cause them to lose money.
Mm-hmm.
So these are agents for whom this model makes no sense whatsoever. There are also agents on the flip side of this that maybe their commission isn't as important to them as their experience. Like, let's just say you're a brand new agent, you have no closed transactions, and you have no reviews, you have a very small sphere, you have nobody making referrals for you. Having a closed transaction under your belt, you may get a smaller paycheck as a result of having ZillowFlex, but you get all of these other ancillary benefits as a part of it. That is an agent for whom this program might make a lot of sense. But then there is everybody in the middle that is trying to just operate their day-to-day business. And I am wondering, does this program make sense for the workaday, normal volume real estate agents out there? Sean, what do you think?
No. And here's why. Because the exact same thing is going to happen that happened with the Zillow Premier agents. Because Zillow doesn't want, let's be honest, Zillow really doesn't want the newbies, right? Because the newbies aren't going to be good at handling objections. They're not going to present themselves. Not that they're just new, right? When you're new, you don't have the experience on handling the objections that come with a traditional transaction, right?
Sure.
And so they're going to have a lower conversion than a more successful agent.
Yeah.
Okay. And they don't want the agents who are your traditional real estate agents. They're doing 10 to 15 deals a year and getting by. Okay. They're going to want the same thing they want with their Premier agents, which is agents who build their business around this business model and they run efficiently and lean and mean, and they have great conversion, great numbers. And so my argument isn't the agents that don't have Zillow reviews. My argument is they're going to want agents that do have Zillow reviews. So when they refer them, their client says, "Oh, this person has 275 Zillow reviews," and it's gonna funnel right back down, just like with the Premier agents, to a few agents. It's going to get even more narrow now to a few agents in a few markets doing more Zillow deals, even than now. Because right now it's pay to play. It's going to be perform to play.
Yeah. Well,
right? It's a different game.
So I agree with you there, but I also want to push back a little bit, because one of the fears, I think, and rightfully so to some degree, one of the fears that some agents have about Zillow getting into this space is if Zillow is taking referral fees from agents in exchange for leads, they are one step closer to not making referrals and just taking the clients on themselves. If Zillow Premier Agent becomes a referral-based program, it to some degree solidifies the importance of local experts. And perhaps what that could mean is that if the pricing model is unsustainable, because we are somewhat in the test phase, if the pricing, if agent feedback is, we like this program, but it's just too expensive, this just doesn't make any sense for us. If that's the feedback that Zillow gets on a sustained basis, possibly that means that the pricing could make adjustments down the road. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball on that, and I'm certainly not speaking for Zillow. I don't have any kind of insider knowledge on this. This is just me speculating. But I think that there is room, if you consider this to, rather than this being Zillow's end game, this is their step one into a new business model, then I'm not as concerned about it as I think other people are.
Okay, let me take, there's 3 points that you made there that I think are very obvious of what's going to happen. Number one, their fee model is not too low by any means, because you're only paying on closings, and the average closing today is double what it was 5 years ago, yet their expenses to operate haven't increased 100%, right? So technically Zillow could probably go to 50% if they wanted to, and they would still have plenty of agents building business models. They would cut other places. They would cut their brokerage out. They would cut other areas in order to stay with the lead. And I know this because when I was producing, in the 90s, and I was spending $4,000 or $5,000 a month on advertising, and the cost of the newspaper doubled. I just increased my spend and I just reduced my margins other places because that was my lead source. So number one is it's not too low, because there's always there's 2 million agents, right? And there's always somebody looking for leads. There's agents that are smart enough to build their businesses around operating high volume. And we know this evidence because the way that Zillow handled purchasing homes. They didn't say, we're going to go buy these Zillow homes, right? When the Zillow Direct, where they were buying the homes. They didn't put them out to any agents. They literally picked 2 or 3 agents in each market to list them through. They didn't put them out to all their Zillow Premier partners.
Yeah, it's true.
You telling me the Zillow Premier partners would love one listing a year from Zillow? But they didn't do that. They gave them all to just a few different agents, right? So we already know their business model. We already know the way that they solve their problems. And as far as them becoming a brokerage, you can do their business model. They could run their business model with referral fees by only having one license in one state in all of America. You don't need licenses in every state to receive referral fees. You need to have one license in one state. So we already know that they're licensing in multiple states. So why? Because you can't employ other agents in other states under your license. So the only reason they would do that is to become a brokerage.
Well, I'm going to push back and say I always hesitate to use a word like only, because I don't know. You certainly have more experience than I do in that brokerage building model. But the other thing I think that is important for us to remember here is, unless Zillow was to go full Redfin and actually put agents on an alternative income track, like an actual salary or hourly, there is a chink in the armor when it comes to arguing that Zillow is the end of the real estate industry. And that chink is, Zillow will never be as competitive in terms of their local expertise as an agent in the market. They need the agents in the market in order to be successful. And here's the best example I have of this is, I did a deal very early in my career. It was probably 6 months into being a full-time licensed agent. I did a deal with someone who was licensed in my state but lived about 4 hours away. He had no experience with our local market, and his buyer overpaid for my listing by, I want to say, like $20,000. My seller, we had to double check the listing to make sure it was right, or the offer, to make sure that I was reading the number right. I was like, is this real? Is this really the number they're asking here? And it's because this person literally did a CMA and didn't bother to check like the acreage on the other properties on the street. We had our particular property had 1 acre with it. Everything else had like 6 acres with it. And this was just an example of how, if you don't know that all the other houses on this street come with a big backlot, then of course this wouldn't make that you are prone to make those mistakes. I'm not suggesting that Zillow would make that level of mistakes on a consistent basis, but Zillow's strength is working with the expertise in the market, and it would take a heck of a long time for them to establish that expertise if they were going to go into a state-by-state brokerage model. So, I'm not sold on the idea that they're coming in beyond this referral base just yet. But
let me talk to something that you said. You said, is Zillow going to I think you said destroy the real estate industry?
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Yeah, I agree.
They're a major competitor. Let's just say them what they are. They are a competitor to other brokerages. They absolutely are. Now, they're a competitor that's willing to participate with you if you're willing to participate within their guidelines. Now, that's your choice.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
That's your choice. Would I pay somebody 30% of my leads if they're providing me 30 closings a year? Yeah. Why wouldn't I? Like, are you kidding? Of course
Absolutely.
I would.
Yeah.
I can operate my business for the remaining 2/3. Right. But but that's my choice, right? Now, so I do not think that they're gonna take down the industry, nor has E-Trade taken down the financial services industry, right?
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, there's so many apps now and whatever, but I have friends that are still financial planners, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And they do
100%.
well. They're
Yeah.
not the industry's not different. Or it's not gone, it just changed. And I do agree with you 100% that it's gonna be, if anything, in the short term, it's gonna be something similar to Redfin.
Uh-huh.
And as working with Redfin, they drive a lot of traffic. They have a very good user interface system. I have clients that use their app, but still call me, right? So,
Mm.
I mean, you just have to continue to differentiate yourself in the market, right? And
Yeah.
and I think that's the thing is if you think your job is opening doors
Yep.
for clients, or even just filling out a contract for clients, you're in trouble.
I totally agree. In fact, that was going to be the next thing I said is agents who are worried about programs like ZillowFlex, those are probably agents who look at themselves as glorified chauffeurs. I mean,
Mhm.
these are people who drive you to and from listings. They've got paperwork on the front seat of the car that they can hand you. They can shuffle it back to somebody else. Those are agents who should be worried about this. And honestly, this sort of program, I've been saying this since the beginning of the pandemic. Right now, 2020 has been a year of acceleration. In fact, we look at where we've come in 10 months.
Mhm.
Those 10 months have essentially represented close to 10 years of progress in a lot of technology fields. And I would argue that real estate has been similar in terms of its progress. Maybe not quite that accelerated, but programs like ZillowFlex are going to eliminate, kind of the fringe agents who maybe don't have the expertise to be able to lend a lot to the conversation, but they happen to have a license that allows them to write contracts.
Yeah.
This sort of program is going to make those agents less important, but what it is going to make more important are the agents who do more than just write contracts. If you can, like you said, if it was an exchange of 30% of a commission in exchange for 30 deals, yeah, I'll sign twice. Tell me where to sign. That makes a ton of sense to me.
Yeah.
I think, Sean, tell me what you think about this. I actually think the Zillow Flex model makes a little bit more sense on like a team or a brokerage level where you could like spread that cost, like that 30% cost. Maybe if I'm a broker, I eat 15%, or I eat half of the Zillow Flex cost. I pass half of it along to my agents, and if they hit cap, then they get the whole cost of Zillow
Yeah.
Flex. What do you think about something like that?
I think absolutely. Oh, okay. When I'm going to differentiate these two, I'm not going to differentiate them by team or brokerage. I'm going to differentiate them by accountability, because
Okay.
there's teams that operate like a brokerage and there's brokerage that operates like a team.
Uh-huh.
But if I'm Zillow,
Yeah.
and I have an accountability structure where I'm talking to one person, the leader,
Uh-huh.
and I'm holding that person accountable to my leads. And that leader has people underneath them that is doing a great job converting those leads and et cetera, et cetera. That's where I'm going with my business, right?
Yeah.
I am funneling that business there. And where a brokerage, if you have independent agents underneath, it's so hard to control them. I mean, I spent $47,000 of my own money to provide my agents leads, and I couldn't hold them accountable because they're independent agents, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If
Good
I'm
point.
running a team, it's real easy. Get off my team,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Great point.
You make these calls or you leave, right? That's your choice, right? Because we're running a business, right? This is an operating business. So I think that's exactly who the model is built for.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's exactly what it's built for. And you know what, I have friends that get referrals through Redfin that, I kid you not, close over 100 transactions a year that are not Redfin agents.
Yeah.
But they're a Redfin referred agent and close a ton of deals.
Yeah.
And they pay a 30% referral fee.
Yeah. Well, I'll be very interested to see what happens, because right now Zillow Flex is only available in a few markets in the United States. Colorado happens to be a state where I think 3 of the markets are. They're clearly using this as a test case. So Sean, I'll be anxious to hear if Zillow Flex becomes an option in your market, near Boulder, if this is something that you see locals starting to take advantage of. And my prediction, I'm laying it out there right now, guys. This is the last Close Pro call of 2020. I'm guessing by the time Sean and I are arguing in mid-December 2021, that ZillowFlex will be in half the major markets in the United States. That's my prediction.
For sure. And the big question is, right, will they build a brokerage? That's the unanswered question. And that's a totally different business model, which gets very challenging.
Yep.
But I think if you follow the numbers, then I don't have the recent stats on the the quarterly profitability Zillow versus Redfin.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at least a year ago, if you looked at the numbers, the financial numbers, Redfin had a higher profitability than Zillow, but yet Zillow was 4 to 10 times bigger than Redfin. It was amazing, the difference. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what caught Zillow's attention is. Mm-hmm. This model is working for them, right? And we're doing, and this is going to sound hard, 90% of the work, in their opinion, is 100%. Generating the lead, following up with the lead, getting a motivated, qualified buyer, and then the agents are letting them down, right? And I'm not saying that because I'm pro Zillow. I don't pay for Zillow, and I had my Zillow experience for $47,000. So I'm not pro Zillow, but I'm just saying from their perspective. And the other thing, Chris, is I'm pro competition.
Big time.
I like innovation and I like competition because I think it makes us better. I'm not the person who says we need to just hunker down and unionize and protest because, I like the way it used to be, right?
Yeah.
I want to segregate our MLS from everybody else's MLS and not let other brokers in. I don't agree with that. I think we serve the customer, and if it's better for the customer, then it's better for us in the long term. It's better for our industry.
I think that's a great sentiment there. And I'd add to this something you said just a little bit ago has really caught my ear and is still kind of rattling around in my brain. Zillow is looking for, if this is the direction they're going, they are looking for the best performing, most reliable agents in their in local markets that they can partner with, because honestly, if that agent isn't successful, then they are not successful. So they have a vested interest in working with people who are going to get shit done, pardon my French. So think about what an opportunity this becomes then. Because right now, I bet you agents, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, I want you to think right now, who are those top 10 performers in your market? If you are not part of that circle right now, if you're not in that top 10 or that top 25, you have some time to position yourself to be a really compelling case to partner with Zillow if this is the direction they're going. Because think about how much your on-ramp to success increases if you have a partnership with literally the largest real estate website in the world by orders of magnitude, the largest exposure to consumers, something like, it's tens of millions of people visit Zillow's website every month. And we're talking about unique people. These are people, I will be the first to admit I've got family members who are guilty of this. They're not looking to buy a house. They just like to go on Zillow and look because in a year or 2 or 3, they'll want to buy a house. Can you imagine if you had exposure to leads, not just in step 1 of their journey, but step 0, step -1, step -2? You have a chance to start building your brand with these people and being successful way further ahead of your competition. That's a really advantageous place to be.
So I just got to pull the elephant out of the closet, though.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Let's hear it.
Elephant in the closet is this: if Zillow's driving the leads, they're also going to be driving the commission. And here's what I mean. One of the easiest ways to attract clients is by discounting, right? It's the easiest. But the hardest part about discounting is scaling, right? Because the cost to provide services. If Zillow does follow a Redfin model and starts, they're communicating to your family members. Uncle John has, a nice house. It's $360,000. He's on Zillow. He's checking it out. And Zillow starts saying, hey, we'll buy your house. You don't have to pay a commission. Guess who's out? Chris is out.
Yeah, that's true.
Or they say something where it says something like, hey, list with us for 1%. And guess what? We're going to refer it to Chris.
Yeah.
Right. And then they say to Chris, well, you're going to get 1%. And then you're also going to get a portion of the 2.8 less 30% of the gross total commission. So you're going to get 70% of 4.8% upon success, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here, what Zillow could do is reset the earnings that agents are making, right? And so that is a risk of that business model. But that's, again, that's true with Amazon, did that to retail, right? And
100%.
so it doesn't mean every retailer closed, but some did.
Yep. And, I'm going to just give a little sneak preview. I'm currently working on an article all about ZillowFlex. If you're reading that article, this video is going to be embedded in there. So, hello, we've got kind of an inception thing happening here. But one of the points that I make in the article, assuming that it doesn't get chopped out of the way by my editors, which I don't think it will, is that one of the challenges of this model is that it consolidates power in the real estate industry further at the feet of Zillow. It gives them more sway to steer the industry in advantageous ways for themselves. And I think that there is a challenge and a concern in that. Is it a concern at the level that Amazon has dominated e-commerce and just retail in general? Personally, I don't think so. I think our industry is stratified and kind of distributed enough that this sort of consolidation doesn't have that level of effect. But maybe December 2021 we'll be singing a different tune. Sean, we gotta go. I have some Christmas presents to wrap. I have the holiday ham. It's still in the oven. I got to go take that out. But any parting words before we go? Last thoughts on ZillowFlex that you want to share with folks?
Well, I think you're dead on, and just referencing your Star Wars materials behind you.
Yeah.
This is a moment in time where we're going to see if the Federation or the Republic wins.
Well, as somebody who is currently watching The Mandalorian, don't say anymore. It would really bother me if you spoiled this for me. Guys, thank you so much for being part of the Close Pro. It's really been super fun having these coaching conversations every week. If you are not a part of the Close Pro, you are watching this. This is a sneak preview. We do this every single week. Come on over to the Close Pro. $30 a month gets you super fantastic access to our full resource library, full of templates, full of checklists, full of long form guides. Sean's got scripts. Oh, you can't forget the scripts. Oh, I love the scripts, actually. Sean's got a great course in there. I've got a course in there that we're building the course library. If you want to level up your real estate business, the Close Pro is the way to go. You can head over to our website, check it out there. There's a free trial. We really love to have you on board. Sean, it's been a pleasure as always. Thanks for a great conversation.
You bet, man. I'll see you after the holidays. And if I don't talk to you between, happy holidays. And Becky, you too.
Guys, have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.